Superhero fatigue might be a thing now, but back in the 2000s, networks were cranking out all kinds of weird caped crusaders. We had leather-clad vigilantes, sitcom superheroes, and more than a few gloriously campy experiments. So in this video, we're revisiting the forgotten superhero shows of the 2000s. Some you might remember, others you've probably scrubbed from your memory, but together they prove the 2000s were a wild playground for superhero TV. And to keep things neat, we're listing these shows from oldest to newest. My Hero. Before superheroes dominated Hollywood, the BBC gave us My Hero, a sitcom about an alien crime fighter named Thermo Man who tries to live a normal life in suburban England. Spoiler, it's harder than it looks. Thermo Man is as clueless about human customs as he is powerful in saving the world. The humor came from his awkward attempts to blend in, his romance with Nurse Janet, and his everyday disasters that proved saving the planet is easy compared to navigating domestic life. Silly, charming, and totally of its time, My Hero was basically Superman meets dad joke sitcom, and somehow it worked for 6 seasons. Black Scorpion. If campy late-night superhero fun is your thing, Black Scorpion was made for you. Originally a Roger Corman movie, it spun off into a TV show on Sci-Fi Channel about a cop-turned-vigilante named Darcy Walker, who moonlights as the leather-clad, gadget-wielding Black Scorpion. The show was unapologetically cheesy, stuffed with over-the-top one-liners, colorful villains, practical effects, and comic book-style theatrics that felt straight out of a Saturday matinee. It knew exactly what it was: guilty pleasure superhero pulp. For fans of low-budget sci-fi and gleeful camp, Black Scorpion was a wild ride. Witchblade. Based on the Top Cow comic, Witchblade followed Sarah Pazzini, a tough NYPD detective who becomes the bearer of a mystical weapon called the Witchblade. The gauntlet bonded to her arm grants her superhuman powers, but also comes with visions, ancient enemies, and a whole lot of destiny baggage. The show had a grittier vibe than most superhero series at the time, blending cop drama with supernatural elements. Despite strong ratings, the show only lasted 2 seasons, cut short by behind-the-scenes troubles. Still, Witchblade had style, action, and a genuinely cool mythology that made it stand out in the crowded early 2000s TV landscape. Mutant X. Created in the wake of the X-Men movie hype, Mutant X was Marvel in name but had nothing to do with the comics. Instead, it followed a group of genetically engineered new mutants trying to track down and protect other new mutants. With powers ranging from the ability to generate electricity to temporary invisibility, the team had serious discount X-Men vibes, but that didn't stop fans from enjoying it. The show ran for 3 seasons and built a cult following thanks to the team dynamics and futuristic action. Mutant X may have been Marvel light, but for early 2000s superhero fans, it scratched the itch. The Tick. Before Amazon gave us a reboot, Fox brought The Tick to life in live-action form with Patrick Warburton in the lead role. This version toned down the animated series' absurdity, but kept the satire alive, poking fun at superhero tropes with deadpan humor and ridiculous villains. Warburton's booming voice and square-jawed delivery made him perfect as the clueless but big-hearted hero. Sadly, the show struggled to find its audience, lasting only 9 episodes. Still, it's fondly remembered as a cult favorite. In a sea of overly serious superhero adaptations, The Tick was gloriously goofy. Birds of Prey. Long before the Arrowverse, the CW's predecessor, the WB, tried its hand at superhero drama with Birds of Prey. The series followed Helena Kyle, the daughter of Batman and Catwoman, who teamed up with Oracle and Dinah Lance to fight crime in a Gotham abandoned by Batman. The setup was ambitious, but the execution wobbled, hampered by shaky writing and a lack of superhero action compared to what fans expected. Still, the cast had charm, and the concept was ahead of its time, giving female heroes the spotlight years before it became mainstream. Short-lived but influential, Birds of Prey remains a fascinating entry in DC TV history. Blade, the series. After Wesley Snipes turned Blade into a box office juggernaut, Spike TV rolled out a TV adaptation with Kirk Sticky Fingers Jones in the lead role. The show picked up after Blade Trinity, following the half-vampire, half-human hunter as he waged war on bloodsuckers. It leaned darker and more serialized, with layered vampire politics and plenty of blood-soaked action. While the fight choreography impressed, the series struggled without Snipes' star power and only lasted 1 season. Still, Blade the series had its fans, and it proved that the character could easily work on TV. The Amazing Extraordinary Friends. This New Zealand series took a lighthearted spin on superheroes. It followed teenager Ben Wilson, who discovers a mysterious amulet that gives him powers, thrusting him into the role of Earth's newest hero. With a title like The Amazing Extraordinary Friends, the show leaned in to camp and charm. Packed with colorful villains, quirky humor, and a throwback vibe, it felt like a Saturday morning cartoon brought to life. While it never became a global hit, the series ran for 3 seasons in New Zealand and carved out a niche as a fun, family-friendly superhero romp with a distinctly Kiwi flavor. Painkiller Jane. Based on the comic, Painkiller Jane centered on Jane Vasco, a DEA agent who gains extraordinary regenerative powers. Basically, she could take a beating, heal instantly, and keep on fighting, making her the ultimate one-woman army. The show mixed gritty action with sci-fi conspiracy, as Jane tracked down other human mutants known as Neuros, while trying to understand her own powers. Despite the edgy premise, the series only lasted 1 season on Sci-Fi Channel. Still, Painkiller Jane offered a darker, more violent take on superhero TV that felt ahead of its time. Flash Gordon. Sci-Fi tried to revive a classic with Flash Gordon, but the results were not great. Starring Eric Johnson as a modern-day Flash, the series reimagined the pulp hero for the 2000s. Unfortunately, budget constraints and weak writing kept it from capturing the campy fun of the original. Fans expecting cosmic adventures got something closer to a CW drama with occasional sci-fi elements. It only lasted 1 season before vanishing into obscurity. Still, it's a fascinating relic of the era, an example of how tricky it is to update cult heroes for modern audiences. The Middleman. The Middleman was one of those shows that felt like it was made by and for comic book fans. It starred Natalie Morales as Wendy Watson, a struggling artist recruited by a secret agency to fight exotic problems. Translation: everything from mad scientists to hostile aliens. With its rapid-fire pulp culture jokes, cartoonish villains, and deliberately campy tone, it was a love letter to comic book weirdness. Critics adored it, but mainstream audiences didn't quite know what to make of it, so it only lasted 12 episodes. Still, The Middleman has since earned cult status as one of the quirkiest superhero gems of the 2000s. Honorable mentions. Not every superhero show of the 2000s made the main list, but they still deserve a shout-out. A few were too big to be called forgotten, like Smallville, which gave us a young Clark Kent before the cape. Then there's Heroes, which started out as appointment TV with its Save the Cheerleader, Save the World catchphrase before stumbling in later seasons. And Misfits, the raunchy British cult hit where a group of juvenile delinquents suddenly gain powers during a freak storm. Others weren't strictly superhero shows, but the vibes were there. For example, The Invisible Man followed a small-time crook turned reluctant hero thanks to an invisibility implant. Dark Angel gave us Jessica Alba as a genetically enhanced runaway in post-apocalyptic Seattle, and Kyle XY leaned into teen clone mysteries with a superhero edge. And finally, for non-English 2000 superhero shows, Belgium's Mega Mindy turned a schoolteacher into a bright pink heroine beloved by kids, while France's Hero Corp delivered a deadpan comedy about retired superheroes forced back into action. No Heroics. No Heroics asks the real question: what happens when superheroes are off the clock? The answer, at least in this British sitcom, is that they hang out in a pub, drink too much, and complain about their lives. The show followed a crew of B-list superheroes more interested in pints and petty rivalries than crime fighting. Packed with sarcasm, dry British wit, and plenty of digs at superhero culture, it was refreshingly unglamorous. Sadly, it only ran for 1 season, but No Heroics remains a brilliantly snarky take on cape culture. Did we dig up the 2000 superhero shows you'd totally forgotten about, or are there a few hidden gems we missed? Drop your favorites in the comments. If you had fun with this trip down memory lane, check out TVShowPilot.com for even more TV goodness, and don't forget to subscribe to the TV Show Pilot YouTube channel for more videos just like this.